Hello, my beautiful friend. Welcome back to the podcast. How are you feeling today? Notice I asked, how are you feeling? Right? Really tune in with your body. I think a lot of us ask, how are you doing? Right? It's like all about what you're doing, where have you been, what you've been experiencing. But also, it's important to really know how you're feeling into the signals that your body gives you. And that's what I'm going to be talking about today on the podcast is like really feeling into those body nudges, those little like pokes that we get that like, are we on the right course? Or are we off course? Are we in alignment or out of alignment? Or what kind of messages our feelings are sending up to us? I know for me, my feelings have been a little bit wonky and all over the place. The LA fires have really caused a lot of sadness, grief, pain, a little bit of suffering, thinking about the people that have been affected. And my prayers, my thoughts, my hugs, my love goes out to all of you in LA County because even seeing it, even if you're not, quote, displaced or your house hasn't burnt down, I know a lot of people are experiencing a lot of fear and anxiety and a lot of uncertainty, a lot of the big disruption to the community up there. And I'm experiencing that in my body. Even though I live in San Diego, I'm experiencing that because of the proximity, because I'm seeing it on Facebook and Instagram and all the news sources. And I'm really feeling sad. And then on the flip side, I just had an amazing weekend where I went to an event called Reclaiming Your Health for 2025. And it was so exciting because I saw all these women coming out who are really ready to embrace self care, putting themselves first. And they talked about why they paid for this event, why they invested in this event, why they took time out of their Saturday to come to this event, because it's really time for them to reclaim themselves, their health, and take better care of themselves. And when they do that, they feel better and they're able to give more, able to love more, able to provide more, and just be a light for others that are also on this journey to take better care of themselves. And it was fascinating. We had an awesome panel. We had a physician there who was doing holistic health, functional medicine, there to ask questions. We had a breath expert. And she was showing us how we should be breathing. And I learned a lot of things that I'm going to be now incorporating in my breath. I was not breathing as healthy and as healthily as I could. So now that I know these tips, I will be practicing them. And there was a number of other people on the panel, including a fitness trainer expert about how to incorporate more movement throughout the day, because studies show that we are becoming more and more sedentary. And this is why the whole campaign around sitting is the new smoking, right? Because it's now sitting and being at our desks, at our computers, on the couch, watching TV, scrolling on our phones, and not really getting in the movement that we need. Even if we work out, that still may not be enough movement because you can't say, I'm going to sit and lay down for 23 hours and work out 1 hour of the day and that be enough movement. That's still considered a sedentary lifestyle. So, really getting in movement and really focusing on movement and strength. And you don't have to do big chunks of it. And actually, a lot of data, and I was just posting this inside Transform in 10, that I just learned that 10 minutes of walking after a meal. So, you eat and then you walk for 10 minutes. So, that's three 10-minute walks is better for your blood sugar, is better for your longevity, is better for your health than one 30-minute walk. Really fascinating stuff, right? So, learning all this information, I just became on fire and excited. And so, I've got like all these emotions inside of my body from sadness and fear and anxiety to like happiness and joy and ready to take the next step and implementing things. And I think, that's the human condition is that we lean in to these body nudges. And sometimes our body nudges come from thoughts. Sometimes our body nudges come from feelings like I'm confused, I'm overwhelmed. What is this telling me? Sometimes it comes from sadness. And why am I sad? What can I be doing to help? Can I be doing more? Should I be doing more? Do I want to do more? Like all the questions that come up from that. And then you get these body nudges. So our bodies are speaking to us. And I love thinking of that because our bodies are signaling, hey, we want to do something differently. or we want you to take care of us differently. So I love tapping into that. And so I have shared on an episode in the past that I had the nudge that it is time to take a pause on doing this podcast. And I want to let you know that my body is really nudging me at this time. So, this episode will be the last episode for a while because I will be taking a break. How long will the break be? I don't know. Will it be forever? I don't know. But I just know saying I'm stopping it doesn't feel right in my body. And what does feel right is saying I'm taking a break. I want to pause. And so I offer that because I started this podcast, as you may recall, like having those nudges and saying, oh, yeah, I'm ready to start the podcast, talking about it with my husband, going on walks, talking about it more, talking about it more. Then I had woken up in the middle of the night where it's like, you need to start the podcast. It was like the thought that came to my head. And then I was able to go back to sleep. And the next day I'm like, okay, I really need to start this podcast. My body is telling me to start this podcast. And then my husband said, just start the podcast already. I'm sick of hearing you talk about it. And so then I did. I started the podcast and I had all that emotional angst and emotional swirling and whirling in my gut and just like this prompting that I couldn't let go. And so now I'm having this prompting again that it's time to pause the podcast. Now, I know many people hear promptings, feel promptings, right? Yeah, I feel it's the right time to do X. I want to be able to do X, right? And they get that like initiative or that prompting to do something and just listen to it. And a lot of times this prompting is feels like chaos inside the body, feels like fear and anxiety is part of it, and yet excitement could be part of it, and confusion, and like, why am I being prompted to put a pause on the podcast now? Like, what's going on? What's next? And we want to know all the details. And when I started the podcast, I was like, well, how many episodes? I don't know. How long do you plan on going? I don't know. I just was like, okay, if I could get 10 episodes going, that seems amazing. And then I'll just take it from there. And I know I started that journey too with my drinking the same way of cutting back. It's like, okay, this isn't working, this isn't working, this isn't working. And I need to take different actions if I want different results. And the dry Januaries, the sober Octobers, these little mini vacations away from alcohol aren't doing it. I've tried this for a couple years and it's not working to change the habit. I keep coming back to the same amount of drinking. Literally, my drinking was the same amount. It was 3 to 4 glasses of wine a night, sometimes two, but mostly three, and sometimes four. And there were some nights where it was the whole bottle, and there is 5 glasses of wine in a bottle. So it was never like one. It was never like two. It was usually three, four, and then the weekends were the same. I was still wanting the martinis and still wanting all the things. And it was like, I can't take the same actions and expect different results. So it was time for me to find a new method, try a new way. And that's when I went to the internet, hired my coach, and I was like, oh, nobody told me it was this process from within. I thought it was all external, right? You like, don't buy the alcohol. It's all about the alcohol, all about the alcohol, all about the alcohol. It's like, no, it's my relationship. And that relationship resides within my body and within my mind to the alcohol. It's how I perceive it. It's the stories I'm telling myself about it. It's how it's helping me in my life. I had so many stories of how alcohol helped me in my life. It helped my anger. It helped me calm down. It helped me relax. It helped me chill out. It helped me be more social. It helped me be a life of a party. It helped me have more fun. All of those stories. And it wasn't until I was willing to see that. You have to be willing to see it. You may know it, and knowing is one aspect, but you really have to be willing to see it. You have to be willing to change it. You have to be willing to work with it. You have to be willing to say, well, okay, I'm really wanting this change. So I'm willing to see this through the lens that my coach is telling me so that I can make these changes so that I can change my relationship with alcohol forever. Right. And so when I hired her, I had no idea if it was going to work. I had hope. I know I wanted change. And I was like, okay, I know I got to start taking different action if I want a different result. And so all those emotions came up because I was feeling not good about myself. I was feeling like, crap, why do I keep drinking so much? Crap, why am I at this place again 2 years later? Nothing has changed. And I look back and like 8 years of this kind of drinking cycle, and I'm not happy with it. And I'm like so internally frustrated and internally revved up and internally confused and a little bit mad and a little bit fearful. And oh, when am I going to get this result that I want? And so, again, that's a body nudge. That's your body telling you it's time to move on. It's time to try something different. It's time to take that next step. Now, did I know it was going to work? No. Did I know what I wanted my drinking to look like? I had no idea. When she asked me, what do you want your drinking to look like? I was like a deer in the headlights. Less? I want to drink less. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot mixed in with that. There's fear, there's emotions. What am I going to do on a date night? What am I going to do with my friends who expect me to drink? Like, I don't know. There's a lot of identity here tied up in that kind of way I perceive myself around alcohol and the way I think others perceive me around alcohol. So, why I'm telling you these stories about starting my podcast, about putting a pause on my podcast, about the drinking, I think a lot of us think that when it's time for change, that there's this kind of Hollywood romance about it, that it's going to feel magical. The stars are going to align. It's going to feel amazing. We're going to be excited the entire time. There's going to be no fear. There's not going to be any like anxiety or self-doubt. And what I'm showing you is just the opposite. I think that kind of internal tension, that kind of internal nudging is exactly how we get change. It's exactly the emotional state we experience when our body is like just really telling us it's time for change. Our body speaks to our mind, and then our mind speaks to our body, and then it's really communicating and outflowing. And you're like, yes, now is a time for change. Notice I didn't say you had to hit rock bottom. Some people, they keep numbing, they keep numbing, they keep numbing. And it's not until they hit rock bottom that they feel and allow all this tension. Well, I haven't been drinking. And when you're not drinking, you get really in touch with your emotions. You get really in touch with understanding your body, which I think is wonderful. You create this intimate connection with yourself where you're not afraid of what comes up. You're like leaning in, and I'm leaning in, going, oh, like this gut wrenching for LA and what I'm feeling in my body right now and how it doesn't feel aligned. And I feel like things in my life need to be shed for me to go to the next level, to get my reinvention, the new self I want to grow into. I allow this tension to be there to fuel me. And I also know that if I just numb this with alcohol, I wouldn't be in touch with myself. I'd be disconnected. And guess what? I'd probably not move to get the change that I wanted because I'm dousing it with alcohol. And it's putting out that internal tension inside of me like a fire extinguisher would on a fire, right? It's just putting out all the desire to get the change. Right now, I feel so much desire to move away from where I'm experiencing into where I know I want to go next. And meaning no, I don't know the full picture. I just know the next 2 to 3 steps that I want to take. And it feels like so much tension to stay the way I am that it feels uncomfortable, like really uncomfortable. Like I want to pace, like a tiger in a cage. Like I'm just pacing because there's just this tension and this energy inside of me. So I explain it in a detailed way so that you can resonate with it in your body. It may feel like extreme anger or extreme disappointment. And use that emotion, use that tension. It's that inner tension that gets us to get the change. It's not something to douse, it's not something to run away from. And this inner tension right now is throwing off my eating patterns. Like I had 2 Krispy Kreme donuts the other day. I don't normally gravitate towards donuts at all. They just don't appeal to me. I just like see them and I walk by them. Like there's literally no desire. And then I didn't have them with any guilt, right? It fits into my Transform in 10 program that I'm doing with the ladies in there. And I talked about how I had these two donuts without guilt because I'm all about 90% follow the plan and then 10% is fun, right? You get to eat for fun, pleasure, all of that. So that fit into my 10%. But then after I had those two donuts, within literally 15 minutes, my body was signaling, what the heck? I didn't feel good. I had so many symptoms. And I'm just like, thank you, body. Thank you for telling me you really don't want donuts. I thought I was somehow confused and I gave you donuts and you really didn't enjoy them. You really didn't love them. And so it's just so interesting that our bodies are talking to us, right? And if we get like stomach upset or a headache or, sugar crashes or cravings, like that's really your body might be out of whack and it's telling you, hey, I don't like this. This doesn't feel in alignment. That's how it all came with my drinking, right? I was drinking out of alignment of who I wanted to be. It's like I had these conflicting desires, the desire to be party and fun and chatty and talkative, and alcohol helped me get there. And then I had this desire for extreme optimal health. And the two were competing, right? So I had to learn to be that fun and chatty and find things fun to talk about. That didn't mean I needed alcohol to get there. So those are just skills I had to learn to build because I hadn't had to learn them. And so they went dormant in my body for at least 8 to 10 years. So now it's like, oh, you can talk with alcohol. Oh, you can be interested in other people and things and not be so interested in the alcohol and what's in your glass. So those were skills I built over time. And that helped me with my new identity, right? So if you're experiencing some of that inner chaos, like that's what I call it, like emotional, like weirdness, wonkiness, right? Listen to your body. What is it telling you? Maybe it is telling you like, hey, I'm ready to lose weight. Like, really, like, I don't feel good with the amount of weight I'm carrying around, or it's preventing me from fitting into the clothes that I want, or it's preventing me in a confidence area, or it's preventing me from feeling as healthy as I want to feel. Any which way, right? But listen to that. Not from a body shaming, but from like your body wants to be healthier. Maybe your mind wants to be healthier. Maybe you're like, all this alcohol, I'm forgetting things, I'm forgetting conversations. I'm not feeling good about my self concept. Like I look at myself in the morning and I'm like, why did you do that last night? Like that was my body and my mind signaling to me, like, hey, you are not living in alignment with the woman that you really want to be now, right? Maybe that worked for your 30-year-old self and I didn't have much consequences or I didn't think about it and I didn't really feel at that time it bothered me. But once I hit my early 40s, I'm like, yeah, no, I don't really want to behave this way. I really don't want to have the same pattern around alcohol. I really want to clean up that mental chatter. I really want to clean up this emotional baggage that I feel like I'm carrying. Maybe there's trauma that needs to be healed for some people. Maybe there's some healing, some self forgiveness about how they acted or what they said. But really lean into that because your body is saying, hey, this no longer works for us. We're in a different phase of life and we're ready for our next evolution. We're ready for our next reinvention. And so I'm feeling a lot of that internal chaos, right? I'm ready for my next reinvention. And so I'm listening in and it's telling me and it's prompting me, try this, do this, do this. And so I'm just listening. I'm listening and abiding, right? So again, if you want to get into your best health this year, I'm just surrounding myself in these circles and I'm feeling the energy from women, whether it's in Transform in 10 or at these conferences that I'm placing myself into, because I want to invest in my health. I want to invest my time, my money, my energy, all of that into better health. On this side of 50, this is where it's at. This is exactly where I want to be. And I am willing to make those commitments to myself and to put myself first and to really prioritize my health in a way that I haven't done before. So I want you just to hear the key parts of this story before I move on. And that is when there's emotional turmoil inside your body, it is not a sign that you need to hide it, run from it, push it down, numb it away, scroll on social media, I invite you to tune into it. Consider a gift and a prompting that your body is ready for change. And that internal pressure, that internal ugh, really allows people to get started to change. And then the second part is allow the fear to be there, but also invite yourself into the courage to do it, to take the next step. And that's what I'm inviting myself into, right? I had that prompting months back where I talked about I'll be, putting a pause on this podcast. And I thought it would come sooner. And I was hearing the prompting a little louder, and I was hearing the prompting a little louder. And now I can't ignore the prompting. It's like I have something in store for you that you don't know yet, but you need to shed this piece in order for that piece to come to light. I have an idea of what it is, but we will see. I, like you, can't predict the future, but I can listen to the present. And that is huge. How many of us want to ignore the present and race off to some future? We want to ignore the body we have and race off to the thinner version, the healthier version, the version that doesn't drink so much, the version that has it all worked out, buttoned up, blah, blah, blah. And a lot of times that's like self-judgment, self-critical, and it maybe lasts like a couple of days, and then we're back to self-sulking again. No, invite yourself into feel the present, feel the emotions, and let them fuel you by not ignoring them, by leaning into them, right? They're there for you. They're there guiding you. They're there telling you a story that you really want to listen to. And so really lean into that. So my nudge, I shared inside of Epic U some of my first quarter goals, because inside Epic U, we're working on the Drink Less Lifestyle program, and we're looking at how we're building out an Epic 2025. And what does that look like quarter by quarter by quarter? So we break it down quarter by quarter. And I was sharing some of my goals inside of quarter one that are really feeling aligned with where I'm at. And aligned meaning I don't have competing or conflicting desires. Right? If you have the desire to party all the time or the desire not to feel your feelings, of course, and then the desire to cut out alcohol, those are competing desires. Because when you cut out alcohol, guess what happens? All the things you've been suppressing, all the things that you've been pushing down, they come up. And they may be good emotions. I'm not saying they're all bad. No, I started to feel more positive emotions because I would just numb. Like I was chronically numb, it felt like at night, right? I'm not happy till I have alcohol. Now, I'm in this like sweet spot where I got to keep the buzz going. And if I drink too fast, I'll get too drunk and pass out. And if I don't drink fast enough, I'm going to go back down to baseline and feel like really tired. And that's bad. So it's like constantly titrating this medicine so that I can be in this very narrow zone where things don't bother me. And yet, I feel a little bit of peace, but I don't feel a ton of joy. I'm just kind of there. I'm just kind of numb. Like if you told me we won the lottery, I might be happy, but I'd have to allow the alcohol to wear off to get like really happy because I'm just like in my nice, comfortable space right now. So it gives you this like part of life that you're just kind of like, yeah, everything's just kind of eh. So it's that meh stage, right? So when you quit alcohol, right, you get, or cut back, you get a lot more feelings popping up. And some of them are great. And then some of them are not so great. And how are you going to work through those? So one of my goals was to feel more alive and feel more of my emotions, even when they are feeling right now a little more tension, because it's building, building, building. And my body's saying, take action right now. This is what you need to do. This is your next step. This is the last podcast for now. Right? And so I'm listening and I'm doing, I'm listening and I'm doing. Now, here's the thing, ladies. When you have this energy and you just constantly buzz around and do more, and I did that. I'm like, okay, there's energy. Let's do more laundry. Let's do this. Let's do that. Oh my gosh, I'm going to call and make all the vet appointments for 2025. Like line them up. I'm going to do this. And I'm going to do the dentist appointments and the doctor's appointments and la, 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 right? Like busying myself. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, this is not curing it. This is not making me feel better. It's to get still And listen, ladies, it's hard for me as a busybody to want to get still. But if I didn't get still, I wouldn't listen and I wouldn't hear the messages that my body has for me. So, getting still, I'm not saying I sat there for hours at a time, but there were portions of the day where I would just get still and listen to these powerful promptings. They're powerful promptings. And I'm like, why am I unwilling to do that? What's uncomfortable about that? Oh, here's fear. Oh, what's coming up? Oh, interesting. And so when you tune in, it's like your body giving you wisdom on what to do next so you can get different results because it takes different action to get different results, right? And so then you start getting like, oh, I need to do that. Okay, that's a prompting. And I just think it's a next way that your body tells you it's now time for your next evolution. It's time for your next reinvention. It's time for Sherry 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, and start taking steps into that new version. So, as I'm taking new steps into that version, and as I'm prompting you to listen to what promptings you may have coming up, I'm realizing it's going to cause a reset of my habits. What I used to do and how I used to structure my weeks will need to be changed, right? So I used to structure my weeks. I put out a podcast a week. I did that for 4 years and 3 months. I've been podcasting for 4 years and 3 months. So talk about a habit, a weekly habit to get a podcast, right? Like that habit will have to be reset and changed to allow a new habit to come in. And so, if you've been listening to me all that time, I really thank you for following me and listening in and tuning in with me. And I know there are listeners that have been here from day one, and I thank you. It's been an honor to serve and share my wisdom. But now I feel it's a prompting to change. So, where are you feeling some habits need to get pushed aside or on pause for now, just like the podcast? May not be forever, but it's on pause for now so that I can reset, readjust, and reinvent habits. Bring in some new changes. Bring in some fresh changes that your body is kind of like prompting you for, maybe even screaming for. Like, I really don't want to wake up with another effing hangover. I am done with you, alcohol, right? It could be loud. And so listen in and have it ignite you to fuel your change. So for me, I am putting a pause on podcasting and I'm also putting a pause on drinking. I just don't feel like having alcohol in my life at this point in time. And I say a pause because will I be stopping forever? I don't know. I'm going to feel into it, right? I just know for 2025, it's just not on my agenda, just not interested. And that feels amazing. I don't feel deprived. I feel giddy and joyful to say, like, it feels aligned with me now, ladies, aligned. Like how far I have come that now it feels aligned and joyful and just, I just feel like jumping for joy. That's how aligned it feels. And then also, really tuning into more of my health. I want to do more with, I've been working with energy and somatic healing and doing more of that, bringing that facet into my programs. I want more spiritual enlightenment in my life. And so I'm inviting that in and doing more practices around that because I want to grow and expand spiritually a lot this year. If you were to see my vision board, my word of the year, my mantra for the year, I've added a mantra for the year, ladies. Yes. And it's my mantra, my motto, and it's feeling so good and so aligned. And it's helping me shed the past so I can step into the new. I think when we think of shed the past and step into the new, we think it's an overnight process. We snap our fingers, boom, oh, we've arrived. No, that's an epiphany. That's a revelation. That doesn't happen to many people. The process of transformation takes time. That's why, like, I called it transform in 10 weeks, right? It takes time to get the transformation, little by little, step by step. Now, do I know the whole plan on how it's going to unravel for me? No, but that's the exciting part. I don't know each step of the journey, but I'm willing to pivot and make changes and learn and listen along the way. And just to be connected to my divine feminine energy again is going to feel amazing. I can already sense the feeling that's going to be there. I can already sense the feeling coming in, and I'm holding open this kind of emptiness space in my body to allow it to come in to fill. And so I am super excited for these changes coming, my reinvention. And I am super excited for the changes coming for you, for your reinvention, for your habits reset. And even when there is fear, even when there is a lot of emotions, it sometimes takes the tension and the pain for us to change. So never feel like it's not happening for you, because it is. I truly believe when we feel that pain, when we feel that uncomfortableness, it really is happening for us, and it's inviting us to a different space, to different actions, to different ways of being that we feel more connected and more aligned with. So lots of good stuff coming. And so, with that, I want to let you know that there's lots of stuff not changing, and that feels good. I still want to be married to the same guy. That's not changing. He's amazing. I still want my beautiful daughter and all the facets that she presents as. She's amazing. And I still love all my coaching programs. I love helping women work through their habits, work through their resets, work through their reinventions, and work through their transformations. I love the word transformation. It feels so good. And really helping women and be their guide so that they could get it with greater ease, greater joy, and really not feel so afraid to step into that new version. Sometimes it's not the fear of failure that holds us back. It's just that we haven't really tasted the success in that area. And our minds can start to play tricks on us where we don't feel that we deserve that success. And we might start fearing, well, that's the only part. Like, I've actually heard this from women. This is the only part of my life I can't figure out. I got the job down. I got the family down. I got everything. Like, my life is amazing, except this one area. And it might not be the fear of failure. It might be the fear of, oh my gosh, if I fix this, my life will be amazing. And do I deserve that? Can I really have that? Is that really for me, or is that just for other people? And I'm not saying your life is perfect. Nobody's life is perfect. But like, if you don't have this ball and chain following you around and you can just cut yourself free and not walk around with that ball and chain, just how much more freedom you have. Not that life is perfect, but you have more freedom. You have more self-expression to be that spirit, that soul that feels aligned with the actions that you're taking. And that is really when your inner wisdom really transforms to your outer self and your outer actions. And that's really what the journey of drinking less is like. That's a lot of times what women will tell you with losing weight. It's not just managing the outside things. Yes, there's some of that to do, but it's the inner work. It's the deeper work, the healing or the changing or the believing that you deserve it. And you do. You absolutely do. We all do. All of us deserve the life of health and healing, and you can get that transformation. So I'm keeping my one-on-one group, I'm keeping my one-on-one coaching program. I'm keeping my Epic You Beloved program and my Transform in 10 Beloved program. I love, love, love coaching. I might be even adding some in-person things to do because I've been being asked about that. People want to be around others and create that community in person, not just on Zoom. And that's loads of fun. So I have some doors opening in that area. So stay tuned. You can always check my website, Epic You, if you want to learn more and join any of these programs and work with me. I will be posting on my YouTube channel as well. I think it's called Sherry Price Coaching. And then I have my weekly newsletter that you can subscribe to on my website at epicu.com and all those things. And keep an eye on that website for any updates that I might be doing, because who knows, when you invite in new energy, new opportunities come by. And that's super, super exciting. So as I wrap up, I want to let you know that we all desire to be healthier and happier. And yes, you deserve to be healthier and happier, but nobody can make that change but you. I can serve as your guide. Therapists, they serve as guides, right? We all serve as guides. We all serve as inspiration. We all serve as, hey, you've seen my transformation, and by sharing my transformation, I'm allowing you to see how you can get your transformation. But change has to come from within, right? My personal trainer could tell me what to eat and how to work out and all the things, but if I'm not willing to do it, if I'm not willing to get the change, then it's not going to work. You have to be willing to get the change. You have to be willing, and you deserve it. A lot of people don't think they deserve it, or they think it's going to be too hard. If it's too hard, you just need a different plan. There's a plan that works, and the plan can be easy. And when it's easy, you will do it, right? That's why some people can't just cut cold turkey on alcohol. It's too hard. I get it. It was too hard for me. I had to find an easier way. I had to find a way that would work on all the things that I was like choking on to that bottle with, to start to let it go, to start to break down some of that fear. And little by little, I got there, little by little. And now I don't desire it at all. It's amazing. And so it's been 4 amazing years and some, ladies. Thank you. And gentlemen, if you're listening, thank you so much for following me. Thank you for your time that you've invested in this. And I hope all the things that I've shared have really helped you move the needle on the health and habits that you want to create, and to step into that amazing version of you. Don't be afraid. She or he is waiting for you to arrive and come and step into that version of you, so you can have health, more happiness, and more enjoyment. So I encourage you to live out your inner wisdom. Tap into that, my friends. And where you don't feel aligned, start listening. Start listening. If you're acting out of alignment, start listening and say, I want it to be in integrity with myself. I want to feel more aligned. I want to be doing the things that I'm thinking I should be doing, right? And really listen into that, so that you can seek the next step, find the next guide, do the next thing that your body prompts you to do. And with that, I say it's been an honor to serve you. Thank you so much. And I love you. And may you be filled with love, peace, joy this year and beyond. Bye for now.